Hello there everybody, this is Alex from Hardcore Guides, bringing my guide for God of War 3 Remastered on Chaos difficulty. I don't know if I'm going to keep calling it God of War 3 Remastered or not, it doesn't really matter, but yes, we are playing the remastered version. From now on, I'll probably just say God of War 3, we'll just stick with that, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, yes, we're playing Chaos difficulty, and in terms of naming scheme, this is going to be called, part by part, not level by level, so I don't know if I said it or not, but yes, this is part 1, the beginning, and you could consider this the Gaia section, because I know on IGN they call it Gaia for the levels, but there's another, I'm using the GameSpot one, and they call it the beginning, so we're going to go with that. So starting off, you have to fight off, you pretty much have to fight off the undead, you don't really have a choice, and then after that, you can fight the other ones if you want to, you don't have to. For those that are not aware of how God of War 3 beginning section works when it comes to orbs is that the orbs don't really matter much. You're not going to be able to use them. You're just going to be wasting your time if you want to try to collect, red orbs as much as you can. So this is the first true seahorse fight, and it has a couple of attacks that it does almost all the time, and it's usually, like an arm swing attack, and then there's also like the water hydro pump breath attack. This attack right here, you only need to dodge like either left or right once. You can tell when you're about to get hit because the arm, whichever arm it's going to use, is going to start swinging back, and that's when you kind of want to dodge out of the way. Relatively simple and straightforward, pretty easy. First actual true boss fight in the game. The horses themselves, they tend to either range from being like incredibly difficult to just downright piss easy, so it kind of just, I guess, depends on a lot of factors like skill and what have you, but for the most part I feel like this first boss isn't, I would say, anything too difficult to deal with, because it's mostly just like huge wind-ups, you just dodge out of the way and there you go. And then for the breath attack, you just kind of find a corner to hide in. Typically just like when you know it's going to do a breath attack, you want to stay in one spot, because that one spot is where it's probably going to end up using it at. Because it tries to use it pretty much close to about the same place you were just at, as you can tell right there. So when you see it about to do the water blast attack, make sure that you stay in one spot for just a few seconds and then move. So one combo that I'm going to use a lot on the horses, and it's one that works incredibly well almost all the time. Also, that attack right there is a bit tricky to dodge. I forgot he can do that one, but that one's a bit tricky. But for that one, you just want to make sure you stay to at least the left side, so that way you can just roll almost last second. Because rolling in this game does have iframes, so if you do roll at the right second, you'll be able to dodge it completely. If you're not good at rolling or you don't feel comfortable with rolling, that's fine. Just use the magic attack right before he attacks you. Magic's kind of weird in this game because sometimes, at least in this first main boss fight with Poseidon and all his little horses, the reason why magic is kind of weird is because sometimes you'll use it and you think you'll have iframes with it, but sometimes you don't. So it kind of depends on when you use it, and it's all timing based stuff, and that sucks, but it is what it is. So I didn't make the game. But yeah, the attack I was using there was the 3 triple triangle attack, and there's a combo move that I do quite often, at least in the beginning of God of War 3, because you do lose out on your cool, normal triangle attack that you used to have. It turns into a slam, which I'm not really a fan of, to be honest. So that kind of gets, taken away from me a bit later on. But well, the normal square triangle attack that we have from God of War 1 and 2, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I like to do square, then triangle, and then square. I don't know, it feels natural to me now. It's just something I do all the time. And it's a bit of a combo extender, kind of, so it works out that way. But yeah, the triple triangle combo is what I would say is pretty good. Or double triangle and then square is pretty good against the horse guys. Just because it does a decent bit of damage, which is kind of weird because when I was playing this on Chaos Mode, I didn't know I was playing on Chaos Mode. It's one of those God of War 1 things again where it doesn't feel right, something feels too easy. And I do later find out that I am playing on Chaos Mode, But for some reason, the horses became a lot easier than I remember them being. And I think what might have been the factor that made them easier to fight most likely came from using the triple triangle combo. I feel like that's the thing that just completely devastates them. So, bear that in mind. That's a pretty good combo. Try not to go full blast with it if you are trying to, bait out an attack of theirs so that you can dodge. But once they do attack and you have enough room to attack them, then that's a good spot to start using the triple triangle slam thing. So, yeah. Of course, a lot of this game is going to be very timing based. A lot of this game is going to be very dodge heavy. Yes and no. More so, I tend to be kind of more dodge heavy. Which is something that I kind of wanted to bring up in this guide was, this guide might not be for everybody, and even if it's not, that's fine. As long as you find it relatively somewhat entertaining, then I pretty much did my job. Because there's two things I kind of want out of this. It's, to give people advice that they might need, or maybe some tips that they might not have heard of. And then on top of that, have fun watching it and just enjoy the gameplay or commentary or whatever. So real quick, because we're in another fight here, we have Centaurs, and there's going to be a ton of parry stuff. For me, though, as you can see, I'm not actually going with the full parry. It's mainly because the parry just, in my opinion, has always sucked, since God of War 2. And I'm not a fan of the parry in God of War 2. I don't like the slam move itself, and I feel like it's a lot faster just to attack these guys with it. So what I'm trying to do here is, I'm getting myself, I'm getting kind of stuck. And that's not really a good idea. But the thing I was trying to do was I was trying to grab one of these soldiers, these undead soldiers, and press circle and then square so I could do the sprint attack with them. Because as you saw, we put the Centaur into circle mode, which basically means we did quite a bit of damage to him. And yes, usually with humanoid soldiers or whatever like this that you can actually carry around with you and run around on the field with, they tend to give you a lot of damage if you run into somebody with them. At least in the beginning parts of the game, they seem to give you a lot of damage. Also, I have no idea why this block of ice is kind of cut in half, I guess. Because you were able to throw somebody off the screen. I don't know if that was technically intentional or not. If that was supposed to be kind of, I don't know, a weird in-game thing and it's not actually, truly cut off. I have no idea, but whatever. There is a ledge there that you can throw people off if you wanted to. The reason why I'm grabbing this chest anyway is because when I grabbed the health chest, it gave me a tutorial thing saying hey, you grab green chests and you get health or something. And I was grabbing the red one because I wanted to get the tutorial thing out of the way for later, but I don't think there was a tutorial. I think it was just the one chest telling me that, hey, you can open chests, by the way. So, that might have been it. So this fight right here is a lot more difficult than the first fight was, mainly because of timing and dodging and all that stuff. It's kind of a lot harder to do. And I died a lot. I think it took me 8 minutes to beat this guy again, which it really shouldn't have, but I just sucked so bad at it. So as you can see right there, instead of dodging, I just used the magic attack to kind of just save myself the trouble from getting hit. This horse in particular is relatively okay with doing magic attacks against. I think it's just mainly Poseidon that you kind of can't get away with too many of them from. That whole crawling attack thing, good. It's good to start dodging all the way to the very back, so that way you can kind of start lining up your attacks and getting ready for what he's about to do. And then of course for that one, that's just a big giant, wind up slam. So you can either dodge like I did, or you can always just roll to the back, or just even use magic. Don't be afraid to use magic. There's nothing wrong with using magic, because if you're trying to save it for Poseidon, I wouldn't recommend saving for Poseidon. He's kind of a dick when it comes to using magic against him. So I wouldn't do that. Personally speaking, I would know because I fought him and I found out the hard way that his attacks are kind of bullshit. So, but after you've done enough damage, which again I'm doing the triple triangle combo because it just seems to work the best. It seems to do the most damage anyway, and it's quite quick. Which compared to later God of War 3 triangle, triple triangle combos is, God of War 2 and God of War 1's attack is a lot faster than that. And I also love using the square triangle version of it because I feel like it kind of maybe makes the move faster. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think it really matters either way, but it always kind of feels like it psychologically, I guess. But there you go. Relatively somewhat simple now. Again, I would say he's kind of hard, considering the fact that I did die like a whole lot. But he's relatively, intermediate in terms of the bosses here. I would argue that I think Poseidon is more of the advanced boss that you have to deal with. And then, of course, the beginning, first seahorse boss would definitely be probably the most, beginner-friendly one. Even though on Chaos Mode, he could still, wreck your shit. But that's Chaos Mode for you, though, is if you get hit, you're going to take a lot of damage. Especially in the, beginning game part where you have max health, pretty much. You're going to be taking a ton of damage from just one singular hit, so if you're not prepared for Chaos Mode, I would say, start trying to play like on hard mode or something and kind of get used to the timing windows on things. Because that's what, something else I wanted to bring up about my guides, is that's kind of what part of my guides are, is it's just kind of like a showcase of my own skill. Yes, by the way, up there is a Zeus thing you can go get. I'm not going to get him, I already got him, who cares? But just letting you know that up there you can get like a Zeus eagle thing that you can collect. So it's kind of like the urns, but not really. But yeah, this is kind of based on my own skill. So if my own like dodges and stuff don't exactly work in tangent with like how you want to play or whatever, of course that's fine. I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time that the way I play might be potentially harder for some, or even potentially even more dumb to others. Because I'm sure there's probably way easier ways to do this stuff, but the way I do it just is easy enough for me. If it doesn't work for you, I assume there's probably other potential better tips and advice out there. But I'm just giving you what I know and what I know how to do. So if all else fails, just at least enjoy the guide for what it is. If you like watching me play God of War, then hopefully that'll be enough for you. We're also going to be skipping the fluff. For those that are new to hardcoring, we're going to be skipping like a lot of the fluff and stuff. So no cutscenes, no super epic cool stuff. Just straight up fights, just main gameplay and what have you. So this part right here, again, I'm doing the square triangle into triple triangle combos to maximize as much damage as I possibly can. Staying on one side for too long, he'll eventually just, try to attack you with either a tendril that's going to come down or at least a electrical attack. Electrical attacks can be dodged pretty easy. All you got to do is just, stand where it's pretty much not going to be, and then that's just how you do it. He doesn't do it too often, he doesn't make it too difficult to dodge, I guess. But now it's time for the real, cake of this playthrough. So, real quick, that punch right there, you can dodge. You can dodge both of these punches, but you have to get the timing down appropriately. If it comes to it, and your dodging is kind of like off, and you feel like you can't do it, or you don't want to do dodging, then I would say if you're going to use magic for this fight, which I recommend not doing, but if you're going to use magic at all, you're going to have to use it for only the fist attacks. The trident attacks you should not use magic on the trident attacks. Like right there, for example, do not use magic. I mean, if you wait long enough for him to slam down, and right before he slams down, you use magic, you probably could get away with dodging it completely, but I would still recommend just doing this instead. It seems to be the more safer option, at least for me it was. But for his fists, there's obviously the timing window, like right there. Like the split second he's about to attack, you roll, and then you'll be fine. And for the swipe one, it's kind of a bit more of a Elden Ring wind-up type situation. So make sure that you wait just a few seconds longer than you think you would have to. And you don't want to dodge too early, and then like the second before he hits you is when you dodge. And other than that, his health is not that big, thankfully. It does feel like it. It does feel like it though, because I did, again, die a ton of times. Even though it does feel like it's kind of big, it's really, truly not. And I showcased that, of course, you could do this without magic if you want to. But if you know the timing, or if you want to use the timing yourself, and you understand the magic timing better than I would, then yeah, I would say, go for it. After you finish him off, you're going to have to start this again. I don't know why, it's just what they want you to do. Pretty much the same thing as always, just 2 triple triangles, and then you're pretty much done. And if he attacks you, with another hand on the other side, then you have plenty of time to kill off the other hand. It's easy. After that, you're going to swing, and then we're going to get into the quick time event with Poseidon, and then I'm just going to show off the quick time event. Because why not? They're quick time events, so it's still technically gameplay, I guess. I'll at least allow those. After that, you knock yourself into Poseidon, and then you have pretty much all the time in the world to beat the living shit out of him if you want. Well, technically you're in a quick time event, so you probably don't have that much time to do it, but hey, Kratos has all the time in the world to do what he wants, so. But yeah, while I had the chance, again, welcome to my God of War 3 guide. I did say I wanted to start it at least near the end of the year, or at least in December, so here we are. It's not, it's not the new year just yet, so I didn't lie. But here we are. We're going to be starting God of War 3, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I would say anywhere from like 10 to 15 parts, maybe. But yeah, other than that, that would be it for this, and hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you all next time for some more God of War 3 on Chaos Difficulty. As always, take care, everybody.